Well, hello, and welcome to Night School. I'm your host, Latanya Washington, and I am so excited to have a friend that I literally met on Clubhouse along with several other amazing people. And now, I call him the podcast whisperer. I'm just going to call him a new name. I've given him a new name, you all. And so I'm excited today to talk about all things podcast. I said drop the mic, the podcast life. So because so many people are looking to get into this thing, and because he's the one that's doing it, I definitely wanted to have this conversation. I'm excited that you all are here, and so I'm ready to get. Well, hello. Once again, this is Latanya Washington, and I'm excited to have Jared Orr here with me. He has what's called the Whisperer podcast blog. I hope I said that right. Did I say that right, Jared?
The Customer Success Whisperer blog, yes.
See, this is what I'm saying. I get so excited about this. And so he's going to talk to us today because he's been doing this for a while. And I wanted to find out from him what made him go into it, the ups and downs of it. And then for you all that might want to be a part of developing your own podcast, he's the man to talk to and the man to listen to. And we're going to get further into it. And hey, Yvette, good to see you. Good to see you as well. And so, Jared, first of all, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Latanya, as always.
I'm excited for you to be here. We've done so many great things on Clubhouse. I just wanted to make sure I got you on this show too.
Yeah, and I had you on my show as well, so we're helping each other out. This is great.
I know, isn't it amazing? This thing called technology is simply amazing. And so,
it is.
Jared, tell me a little bit about what made you go into podcasting, because so many people are contemplating on whether to get into that, whether to go live stream, different things. So share a little bit of light into it, your why, because it's always something about that why.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you mentioned my blog, the Customer Success Whisperer blog. So that's separate from my podcast. So my podcast is called the Eclectic Podcast, and I started it back in January. So it's May now. So what, five months into it. And I've always loved talking to people, especially entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are some of the most inspiring people you'll ever speak with. So I love talking to them, hearing their stories, finding out their why on why they went into podcasting and everything. Into entrepreneurship. And so I was like, you know what? And people have been telling me for a while, you have such a great podcasting voice, this and that. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well put two and two together, my voice and my desire to talk to really interesting people and just make a podcast. And that's why I did it.
And that's amazing. So you just stepped into it. Like Yvette's just saying, she was just thinking about going into it very soon. I hope you do, Yvette, because you have a lot of information to share with people. And so you just stepped into it. And so, but let me ask you this as well, Jared. What is the why behind it? Because we know you do. You definitely have a great speaking voice. You love speaking to entrepreneurs. And what was that one thing? I always ask people, what was that one thing that really made you step into it?
I guess I never really thought about that until now. Wow. I just thought it would be cool. You know, it's like, hey, why not? I love talking to people. I love talking to mics. Why not do it? But I don't know. Like I said, I feel like when it comes to success, we get caught up in like the Oprah Winfreys and the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates, who are really successful people who deserve their success. But the thing is, we brush shoulders with people every single day who are very successful financial advisors or entrepreneurs or singers or musicians, whatever the case may be, who are doing incredible things, who look like just normal people.
That's right.
And so those are the kind of people I really wanted to talk with, just kind of everyday success stories, really. Because like, you don't have to be the next Elon Musk to be successful or to have a fulfilling life. You can just do what you love. And that's what these people are doing. People like yourself, I've had you on, people who are just living great lives and are very fulfilled. And I just want to hear their story and why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay. Now, see, I love that. Jared, because you're right. Everyone's not the Elon Musk at that level. And we have people who are so successful that if you did not have a podcast and a platform is what I call it as well, to allow other people to come in and share their information, because we have so many people around here that can provide so much great information. And I'm glad you are doing it. And I was excited to be on your show on last week because it was so much fun. It was so interesting because you have many other people that are speaking about what it is that, things that they're doing as well. Now, this is the thing. You call it the Eclectic podcast. So
I do.
Share with us. Now, I know why you call it Eclectic because you shared that with me, but share with our audience why you called it Eclectic.
Well, because I consider myself an eclectic, when it comes to just my interests and my hobbies. Like, there are just so many things that I'm interested in and want to learn about. So, when I started, I'm like, well, it should be about customer success, right? I go along with my blog and what I do for work and my passion for, just my profession.
Right.
But I'm like, there's other people I want to talk to that have nothing to do with customer success. So what if I just brought them all into one and just made it one big eclectic library where people can come in and just learn whatever they want about whatever subject. Now, I have had a lot of people that are in my customer success network, but just the other day, I spoke with a guy who is an ultra runner. He's run over 100 mile races. So clearly we didn't talk about customer success or business. We talked about running, which was an awesome interview.
Exactly. Wow. That is amazing. Because I'm going to tell you, sometimes because of what it is that we do, we're into the customer experience. We're into customer success. I'm into the customer journey. Everything that we do, this is what we talk about. And this is what people know us for. And sometimes we have to step outside of that box and allow other people in just to share their story, because at the end of the day, it's all about people, period. Yep. And so I love it that you called, and I think I told you this last week, I love that you called it that name, the Eclectic podcast, because it just says so many amazing things when you say eclectic. It's like, wow, I see creativity. I see so many amazing things that can happen in regards to that. And so I love it. So let me ask you this now. Because there was a time when I was doing podcasts, and then I went over to live stream and of course other things that we do. But for people out there, like I know Yvette is here, and she want to, she's looking at stepping into it. So what is some of the advice you can give to people like her that are looking to step into podcasting?
Well, the first thing you gotta do is get a microphone. You can't podcast without a microphone, and I have a Blue Yeti X. It's one of the pricier ones, to be honest. But I knew if I had to invest in any piece of equipment, it would need to be the microphone. So I was willing to make that investment. One piece of advice that I got that I stuck with, and I'm really glad I did. Someone told me that I need to have a good backlog of interviews before going live. So I said, okay, well, I'll reach out to a handful of people and get some interviews before I go live. Well, they all said yes, which was a huge surprise. So by the time I released my first episode, I already had like 10 to 12 recorded interviews.
Wow.
So it was just every week I was just working on an interview. I didn't have to worry about interviewing anybody. It was just like perfecting that episode and then release. I found a cadence, release them every Friday. So that's another thing, get a good backlog of interviews, figure out your cadence. Like I record an interview, I release an interview every Friday. And then every Tuesday, I just, talk about some subject that I'm interested in,
right?
Because it's the Eclectic podcast. So like I try to just share my own thoughts about certain things. So yeah, find a cadence, find some a good backlog of interviews and find a microphone, and that'll probably get you started.
And go for it. Okay, because too, I also see some people have their podcast on Spotify. Some people do iTunes.
Yes.
What are some other places, or what are the best places for people to literally the platform for people to utilize? Because some people, okay, they may have a microphone. Some people just will probably simply use the microphone on the computer. But please, you all, don't use the microphone on the computer. Get a microphone. And there are many ones out there. Like you said, you use the Yeti.
Yeah, Blue Yeti.
Sometimes I use the blue snowball.
Yeah.
But I also have a bigger one as well that I use for the live stream. So sometimes I play with both. Honestly, you all, he said it. Please don't use the microphone on your computer. It will not come out right. And then too, so you said, so tell me as well, some of the other platforms out there where people can literally begin to utilize for their podcast, because people are searching for it, for the right platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So I use Buzzsprout as my host. So basically I use Buzzsprout to get me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora. There's a lot out there. Like I honestly I think I pay $15 a month for Buzzsprout to host my podcast and just get it out there. I'm also able to create like visual sound bites, like 15 to like 60-second sound bites of my episodes. So I post those on my podcast Facebook page. I have a Twitter page where I also just post my episodes and like kind of get exposure there. And I use LinkedIn because a lot of the people that I talk to are in my professional network. So I use LinkedIn to get my episodes out there, and it actually has brought a lot of traffic. So that's been good.
Wow. Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout.
Now, and there was another one called Podbean. Is it still around?
I don't know. I heard Buzzsprout. I looked it up and I used it. I didn't look at any others. So.
And you simply fell in love with it. Okay. So now we already know, if you're looking to go into podcasting, make sure you have a good microphone. I have the Blue Snowball. I also have a bigger one that's a little bit more heavier that I literally have to connect to everything. And he uses Yeti, you all. He also talked about having a cadence where you find people that have great conversation and create multiple podcasts, because as I said before, you never know if you're not going to make it in for that week. You might want to take a break. And so have multiple people doing that. All right. Also, he uses what's called Buzzsprout, which allows you to be placed on, what did you say? Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio. Wow. There's a lot. There's quite a few. I didn't realize there were so many places to find podcasts, but Spotify and Apple are really the two main ones. So as long as you're there, you're in good shape. Okay, those two. And then what else is something that people would need who are looking to start into podcasting?
Definitely some recording software. So I use Dscript. So I got to say something. People like you, LaTanya, who do these live, like I respect the heck out of you for that, because I couldn't do that because I put my foot in my mouth way too many times. I stumble over my words. I got to get my thoughts right. It's amazing. I've come this far on this show already, but I use Dscript. So what I do is I do all my interviews over Zoom. And then I download the link, I put it into Dscript, and then it transcribes the entire interview. And from there, I'm able to edit everything and to where I want it to be. I can even re-record some questions that I may have not come out correctly. And it's a great platform. It's so easy to use. And again, I think it's still just $15 a month. So between Buzzsprout and Dscript, I'm paying $40 a month for everything.
Now, see, I'm different because give me live stream because I can just and I'm done.
I can't do that.
And then upload it. I know, but it's amazing because you know what? But you're right. A lot of people say the same thing. It's like live stream is not good for them. And so it's amazing though, the different talents that all of us have and what we bring to this table. It is simply amazing. And I love listening to podcasts. So I know you asked me last week who were my favorite podcasts that I love listening to. So let me ask you, Who are yours?
Oh man, I've recently come in contact with a couple new podcasts that I love. One that I really like is called the Sean and Sachs Show. So
Okay.
Sean Wellen and his wife Sachs, that's her. I forget what her real name is, but that's her nickname. Basically, they just talk about like marriage and relationships and life. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun. They're just fun people. I also like the Minimalists, Ryan Nicodemus and Joshua Fields Milborn.
Yes.
Great guys.
Yeah.
And let's see, anything by Ashley Flowers is really great too. Ashley's a great podcast host. And of course, honestly, my inspiration, of this super cliche, but Joe Rogan, he's a big inspiration for me because his podcast is very eclectic as well. Every episode is different. So I'm like, what if I could take Joe Rogan's style and instead of 3-hour episodes, make it like 30-minute episodes.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing it.
Wow, it's amazing. And one good thing about podcast as well is the fact that you can be driving along in your car. You can listen to everything, anything. It's just whatever you need, you can just literally find it on. You know what? I have podcasts on my phone.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that people can do with podcasts. And I believe, especially to you all that are here and you all that will be listening to this later on, if podcasting is something that is on your heart to do, think about doing it because you have something to give to other people. Plus, you're connected to people that have information that you know needs to get out to the masses. So I always say, Jared, don't be afraid. So let me ask you this. Were you a little bit nervous before going into
Yes. I mean, between my podcast and my blog, man, imposter syndrome, because I started my blog just a few months prior to my podcast. So between that, man, my imposter syndrome really hit me hard. It really did. But I pushed through it. Honestly, I really did. Now I love it. Now I rarely get any like hints of imposter syndrome. Like I reach out to people like you and like people that are just very successful, way higher up than I am when it comes to like professional achievements. Right. And I'm just like, hey, can I interview on my podcast? Like you get nothing out of it, but I get a lot out of it. And they say yes. Like it's so amazing how willing people are to just share their story. It's amazing.
Right. People love it. So now you brought up imposter syndrome. I'm glad you brought that up. Can you define that for me for the people that may not understand what that is? And define that for me for our audience.
Well, basically what it is, it's just negative self-talk. You know, you telling yourself that, you know, you're not qualified for this. You're not good enough for this yet. You don't have enough experience. Yeah. And to that, I just say, screw that. Definitely. Yeah, I don't have enough experience. Who cares? I'm going to learn how to be a podcaster. Never done it before. Like, what do I do? Well, I should get a microphone first. Okay, check. Okay, recording software. How do I make myself sound better? Learn how to do that. Check. And I would literally just spend like an hour each day, like blocked out on my calendar, like that just said podcast, literally just working on something for, a couple of weeks and got the hang of it. It was fun.
And go from there. Okay. Yeah. And so like Yvette said, she says she may be dealing with that right about now. So you already hear, Yvette, you're not alone. A lot of people deal with that. I think we've all dealt with it because it's literally like the fear of stepping out into something like, okay, who's going to judge me? I may not be at their level, but you know what? Am I going to be okay doing this? So Jared, what would you say to Yvette that is saying that she may be dealing with this imposter syndrome right about now? What would you say to her?
Yeah. Well, it's natural. Our brain is designed to like kind of keep us from harm. So when we're doing things that are way out of our comfort zone, our brain's gonna be like, oh, wait, hold on a second here. You're going to humiliate yourself. You're going to, mess up. And you will mess up. And that's the beauty of it. But in my experience, just from the last couple months of dealing with it head on, is the best way to get through it is to get through it. Just push through it. Keep going. Remember your why. You asked me at the beginning, remember your why, and let that be your driving force. Exactly. And it will get better. It's gotten better for me just in a matter of months. So it will get better.
over and over and over, and it's just a habit, and you just do it, and next thing you know, it's just like you become so excited about it, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like you were saying, here it is, you're doing the podcast, I do live streams, and I'm telling you, I still get nervous. We all get nervous. It's
Oh,
just as you said, Jared, and I'm loving how you just said that. You just push through, because you know there's a greater cause to it all, because at the end of the day, we're realizing, okay, there's information that we can share, and there's information that other people can share as well. So why don't I set the tone? Why don't I create this platform for us to just have a conversation? Because guess what, we love to talk. You all love to talk, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love to talk. It's great.
Everyone loves to talk, but it's like when we have to put ourselves in front of a camera, or video camera, or something like that. We'll snap pictures all day long, but when we have to put ourselves in front of a video camera, as you said, sometimes we become fearful and we become nervous, and that next thing you know, we won't do what we know that we wanted to do. And so we're definitely going to, I'm glad you brought that up, that imposter syndrome, because I guarantee you, Jared, it's holding a lot of people back from stepping into this thing. And as we said, where's my microphone? I have a mic, right? I love dropping the mic.
Yeah, you do.
I love dropping the mic because it is about that podcast life. And so it's amazing what's happening. And so where do you literally see, or where do you want to see your podcast? I would say in a few months from now. Where do you see it?
In a few months from now? Well, this week I've decided I'm going to look into how to monetize my podcast.
Oh.
So I would love to see my podcast. Like I have a website that's set up through Buzzsprout, but I want to get a better, like more official website for it. And yeah, I'd like to start monetizing it. I'm not really sure. I don't want to do ads like this podcast is brought to you by. I don't want to do that. Because I don't like it. I don't know. My listeners don't like it.
Right.
But that's what I'd love to be averaging, at least 50 to 100 downloads per episode, and I would love to be making at least some money from it somehow, some way. Again, this is kind of like when I started podcast, I didn't know what to do, so I kind of took it one step at a time. I don't know how to monetize it, so I'm just going to start taking it one step at a time, seeing what I can do. And that's what I'd like to see it be doing in a couple months.
That's amazing, because and that's where a lot of people are. And I'm glad you brought that up as well, because you took the little steps.
Yep.
You didn't go in first saying, okay, I want to monetize this. You first went, like I said, you looked at your why. Why do I want to do this? You wanted to make sure you gave a voice to other people out there in the world. That's why you call it Eclectic. You gave a voice to other people out there in the world that can share information with us.
Yes.
That will have never, ever known one another if they didn't have the chance to listen to your podcast, if you had not stepped out, Jared, and developed the Eclectic podcast. We would never, ever know about it. And so I'm glad you did. And so now, going into the monetization of it all, which is a great thing to do as well. And so are there anything else that you can share with people that are looking to get into this? So we talked about the microphone. We talked about, what were the other things we talked about? We talked about the platforms like Buzzsprout, other ones that'll get you onto Spotify, iTunes. It's just so much out there. You can literally Google everything now, right?
You could. I'm also on YouTube. I have my episodes on YouTube as well. That doesn't generate a lot of traction. There actually are quite a few podcasters that don't do a video format, but I figured I have it on Zoom. I might as well upload it to YouTube, just get it out there. You never know. Yeah, might as well.
I think I did that when I was doing mine. I would do it on Podbean years ago. And then I just I took some pictures and I uploaded it on Zoom.
Yeah, and thanks to that, sorry, go ahead.
But it kept it there. So I didn't lose anything because it's still there.
Exactly. And thanks to it being on YouTube, I've had to get creative and create the thumbnails. So I've learned how to use Canva. I didn't know, I have never used Canva before. And now I've learned how to create a cool looking thumbnail with it. So it's learned a new skill. It was fun.
You learned a new skill. Okay, you guys hear that now? Okay, you can even go to Canva and develop a thumbnail. I love Canva. I mean, I do literally everything on Canva. Yeah. Seriously, you can do so much there. And so that is something that is simply amazing. Okay, so we got the microphone. We have Buzzsprout, other things, other platforms you can utilize, which will put you on Spotify, iTunes. You have YouTube. Let me see. We talked about the cadence, ensuring that you just build. I would say you build your database is not the word I want to use, but you're building the information. You have so many people that literally have already been interviewed by you. Now, are we missing anything else? Let's see. What else could we be missing for our people?
Well, it definitely helps if you like the sound of your voice.
Oh.
I'll just say that because I don't know. I like the sound of my voice. I like hearing myself talk. So that's also helped me enjoy podcasting. Is like, because if you don't like hearing yourself talk, then it's going to be tough because you're going to have to edit the episodes and listen to them, obviously, because it's your episode. But I don't know that if that's my toxic traits or what makes me a vain person, then I'll own up to it. But I like the sound of my voice. I don't know.
Right. It's a nice broadcasting voice for sure, Jared. It definitely is. I know my tone goes up, it goes down. But you know what? It's part of our personalities too.
True. Very true.
It's part of our personalities. And so as he said, you have to love your voice. And if you're an individual who does not love your voice, there's ways in which you can practice talking slow, you know.
Actually.
Okay, you want to talk about that?
If I could go on with that. So the same person that told me to get a backlog of interviews, he also said you got to be able to pause. Whether you're a slow talker or a fast talker like me, I'm a fast talker. Right. You have to be able to pause because those pauses, what he said was they're the exclamation points for what you're saying. And so I've remembered that with every episode. So if I'm talking like this, really excited, I'll remember I got to pause.
Right.
And then I'll go on. Right. And it's worked. It's been good.
It's work. It's just, and you just have to work at it. You just have to work at it. Honestly, it taught me to slow down in my speech. What taught me to slow down is because I'm a professor at the school and now everything has to be closed caption. And so when we're speaking, I have to remember, okay, this is being transcribed, it's closed caption. And so it caused me to be more intentional on the way I speak. And so that's why I began to slow down because I'm with you, Jared. I'll go, I can go.
Yeah.
But it caused me to just change the way, just slow it down a little bit and also to pronounce my words just a little bit more. So when it's being transcribed, it'll catch it. So I don't have to go back in and start typing over again. So that's good. Okay. Loving your voice, speaking, and all those amazing things. Okay. I simply love it. Okay. So before we end today, Jared, what are your last thoughts in regards to podcasting? Once again, for people that are really looking out, that are looking to get into this thing, what are the final words that you want to say to those individuals that really, really say, I want to get into podcasting. I know I need to let go of my imposter syndrome. I should be okay. But what are your final words that you want to say to those people in regards to it?
Well, when I decided I was going to do it, that's a good question. We can answer that. But when I decided I was going to do it, it was because I had received that impression more than once. It was a couple times.
Okay.
And finally I was like, you know what? I think the universe is telling me something. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I did, I bought the microphone and I'm like, okay, now I'm hooked. I have an expensive microphone. I got to do something with it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of learned piece by piece from there. And now I have 15, 16 episodes released. So just one step at a time. But if you keep receiving the impression, then there's something there. So you should do it.
Something there. Okay. When you continually receive the impression, you guys, it's something there. It's something you need to do. Okay. So Yvette says, ask the question. This is a very good question. How important is it to have your guest speak more than yourself? Because I'm telling you, sometimes I hope I'm not one of those bad interviewers, but I've been on shows where they just talk. What do you say, Jared?
Well, I say it depends. So like my episodes, I try to keep them within 30 minutes. And so I try and have the guest speak more than me. I send them my questions. It's usually 3 or 4 questions, and then I just like base the entire conversation around those questions. Puts them in the right frame of mind. And then I have like I said, on Tuesdays, I have my own episode where I just talk about something. So that's kind of like my place to talk. And then my Friday episodes I'm with somebody, that's their place to talk. Of course, like I'll go along with it. I'll add my 2 cents. But since it's only a 30-minute episode, I want them to have as much talking time as possible.
Okay, so did you hear that? So as he said, sometimes you just send people the questions, send people their questions so they can prepare. Then also you have them yourselves. And so you can simply just ask the questions and then let them speak and go from there and just let the conversation flow. I know for me too, sometimes I have to be very mindful that the other person is sitting there and don't monopolize on the conversation, because they're a guest for a reason. They're bringing information in. And so that's a good thing. And she's okay. Got it. Okay. We are looking forward to hearing your podcast coming up very, very soon, Yvette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
In regards to that. And so once again, Jared, I thank you so much for coming on the show and to providing such great information. His show is called the Eclectic Podcast. Where can people find it once again, Jared, that want to listen in?
Yeah, just find me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, really anywhere you get your podcast, but really those two. If you just type in Jared Orr, you'll find it, because the title is the Eclectic Podcast with Jared Orr. So if you just type in Jared Orr, you'll find me. ORR is my last name. And let me know what you think.
I know it's amazing. I know it's simply amazing because you have that voice, you have that broadcast voice, and you're just simply an amazing individual, period, Jared. And so kudos to you, to everything that you're doing, to you making a difference in the lives of so many people. I appreciate you. So many people appreciate you, and keep doing everything that you're doing, because we're loving it.
Well, thank you, LaTanya. And likewise, you're an inspiration to me. So I've loved being on the show with you and look forward to continue our friendship.
Let's make it happen. And so thank you all so much for being a part of this night school. We'll be back again next week with another special guest. I am so excited about everyone that comes in. We always enjoy a great conversation that we can share with others. So once again, thank you guys so much for being a part of Night School.